And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Pretty much breaking news today. Yep, you can see the man. You recognise him. He is Binotto, former Ferrari and now Audi. And there's been a massive reshake at Audi. So Audi F1 project is clearly still going ahead, but with Binotto and without Andrea Seidl. If you're not really sure how Andrea Seidl is, he's the man that Andrea Stella replaced at McLaren. He's the man that put the roots in place, and you can make an argument he's one of the reasons why McLaren is so good at the moment, because he restructured the team and Andrea Stella took over, not to take anything away from Mr. Stella. Anyway, now the former Ferrari team principal returns to Formula One with Audi. Yeah. Let's get into it, shall we? It's interesting. So Audi has appointed Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto to head up its Formula One project as part of what has been described as a major management shake-up. Now, in a statement issued today, as in Tuesday, the 23rd of July, Audi announced that Binotto would be joining the team as its chief operating and chief technical officer, so CEO, from the 1st of August to head up efforts ahead of its 2026 debut. Now, his arrival comes with Sauber CEO Andrea Seidl and Oliver Hoffmann, previously its chairman of the board directors, leaving the project. I mean, Andrea Seidl, he was Audi all the way, Audi Le Mans, went to McLaren, and the minute Audi had an interest in Formula One, everyone was like, well, Andreas is going to go to Audi. And then he did. Now, the major change of direction comes as Audi ramps up preparations for its F1 entry, with it becoming increasingly clear that it needs to increase control of the operation and lift the company's infrastructure. Sauber is the only team so far that has failed to score this season. Now, Audi recently, they've accelerated its full takeover of the Sauber team this year in a bid to ensure that it got on the front foot for 2026. Understandable. Now, in appointing Binotto, he's going to report directly to the Audi board, and it will have someone who can ensure Audi's autonomy and independence remain. Audi CEO, Gernot Dollner, I probably got that wrong, he said, "I'm delighted that we have been able to recruit Mattia Binotto for our ambitious F1 project. Now, while his extensive experience of more than 25 years in Formula One, he will undoubtedly be able to make a decisive contribution to Audi." That's what the boss of Audi said, adding that our aim is to bring the entire Formula One project up to speed by means of clear management structures. But what do we think? Lots of PR gibberish. I mean, this is the guy, former Ferrari. Remember, Ferrari got rid of him, and they got rid of him, and they brought in Fred Vasseur. Ferrari had arguably the better car at the beginning of the 2022 season. And through many mistakes, Red Bull ended up being the better car at the end of the year. Absolutely. Whether Ferrari would have won or not, but they had an embarrassing 2022 season full of errors, full of mistakes. And it's something that Mr. Binotto didn't really put right throughout the year. He wasn't, I mean, I like the guy. He was always very nice in interviews and with the press. But let's be fair, not the most successful. Now, has this happened because Andrea Seidl and the Sauber team are absolutely rubbish at the moment? I'm not saying Seidl's rubbish, but the Sauber team. And I think if that's the case, if they're judging Andrea Seidl on the Sauber team at the moment, I think that's a trifle unfair, simply because a lot of it is not going to be his fault entirely. I think they're essentially holding out for Audi, and this is just a pause. Yes, Sauber have been a bit embarrassing. Yes, the half a minute long pit stops at the beginning of the year was not particularly good. But then this is a guy that also restructured McLaren and got their respectability back. Let's be fair. He was behind the win. He was one of the people behind the win in 2021, the 1-2. So I think it's interesting. I mean, people have called it a realignment of the control structure. And Binotto, he's experienced. He had a 2-decade stint in Ferrari with a 4-season run as team principal. But he's been out of F1 since moving aside at the end of 2022. Rumours that he was going to go to Alpine didn't happen. But he's going to start, obviously, as I mentioned, in the 1st of August. And I just think it's interesting. I'm looking here, even in the comments. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Some of them might not be particularly nice. So bear with. But let's Let's quickly transfer you here. I mean, we've got, this is from the race. Seidl stock has plummeted like a sack of potatoes in recent years. I think that's a bit harsh. Here in Australia, the cost of potatoes gone through the roof. Makes sense. Yeah, they're talking about potatoes. Looks like Audi happened to notice how McLaren's fortunes have skyrocketed since they got rid of Seidl and Keys. I think that's unfair. I think Seidl was a good reason why McLaren was so good. Someone's put, I'm glad to see Binotto back in more of a technical role where he's strongest. I see a lot in my own work in IT. Oh, okay, nice. But to separate that, Audi in, yeah, agree 100% with your first part. I see that. Okay, never mind. I digress. Let's move back, shall we? So, Andrea Seidl, gone. Mattia Binotto, in. I don't think that is maybe the best move for a new Formula One team. However, in fairness to Mattia Binotto, he, I don't think, had the full backing of the Ferrari board behind him. That's kind of what I feel. And I guess we have to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Subscribe if you want to see more. We're upcoming. We're going to have our Belgian Grand Prix preview if it's not already up. So give us a subscribe and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.